Kelly, those Ravens look tough. I don't think they're invincible. There's a little inconsistency with that offense. But boy, did they look physical. That defense ruined Purdy. 27 pressures, I think 3 sacks, and then 4 picks. And the Dolphins are going to their house. It's not going to be easy. This is one of those games where the odds are stacked against the Dolphins. Got to be clear, but we can still beat them. There is opportunity because they are so inconsistent on offense. And we have such a good defense, clearly what you saw against Dallas. And then the pop plays we can get on offense. So I'm going to cover what the Dolphins did last week against the Cowboys. This week that just passed. It's my birthday today, turning 52, so I'm kind of doing something different to be expedient so I can go hang out with the fam. So this is a little style I'm throwing in today. But here we are, 11-4, coming up against the Ravens. A real chance. This is a top of the ceiling evaluation. But we also have to understand it's a game of matchups. We see, certain teams that we destroy. They beat other teams that beat us. And, it's very difficult when you start saying power rankings, because the power rankings really are just a sterile thing. And when you have matchups, you can get a lesser team beating a better team. And so we got to always keep that in mind. Now, the Ravens, if we don't manage to beat them this week, then we have to go back to their house if we get all the way to the top, unless they get knocked off. There's other teams that could be in the postseason that could knock them off and it could change things. It's such a weird circumstance in playoffs because you can get one of these bad matchups for a better team and it could set us up right. But anyway, I'm going to get into the protection. I'm going to get into Tua, the pass game, the run blocking. And then tomorrow I'm going to do the film of Andrew Van Ginkel. It felt like when I first watched the game, I was like, oh, wow, man, Chubb had a great game. And he did. He really did. But Andrew Van Ginkel had the harder assignments from what I'm seeing. And I'm going to go through his film tomorrow. But today's going to be an analytics day. And it's going to show once again that all the hype masters about the protection, they're missing the main point. The reason that Tua should still be considered MVP candidate, obviously on the lower end because the production isn't super high. But guys, when you understand what he's doing along with McDaniel, Tua, with Hale and Waddle to uplift this protection, you've got to understand, yes, the gaudy stats aren't there, but there's not many guys in this league who could throw and survive the way Tua is with this protection. Now, it's not all bad. Tehran had a phenomenal game. Some exterior guys, Smythe had a very good game. Some receivers, Wilson had a very good game. And it were good plays by everyone up and down the line here and there, enough to beat a Cowboys team that is very inconsistent as well. They didn't have Smith, their left tackle. That hurt them. And they really didn't have much potency at the D tackle spot. When you go back, you look at the teams that Dolphins have struggled against, the Bills, the Philly, the Chiefs. These teams, the 3 losses that we had, aside from the Titans would have had Simmons, but those 3 losses against the good teams had good edge pressure, but they all had one thing in common: good interior pressure. And it's the interior pass rushers that really is the biggest problem for the Dolphins, and especially when they got good edge guys and interior guys. Lamb, he was able to hold off Parsons for much of the day and Lawrence for much of the day. He didn't have a great day, but we were able to work around that. Tehran, though, did a phenomenal job. He had one or two bad protections, but they essentially were able to contain the edges and they weren't able to generate interior pressure. So leaving that all out there, I'm going to get into the full podcast with a lot of graphics that I presented from Pro Football Focus, just because it's a very expedient way. And I'm the grading system I'm not really going to focus on too much, just the raw stats to kind of let you know what the situation is. Okay, savvy? So let's get into it. Before I do that, guys, the likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, you guys have been helping me out a ton with that. Please continue with that. It's what keeps this channel going. So without you and my sponsors behind me, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so they only blitzed us 6 times this week, which is a little bit more than what we've been seeing, but it's not what they're used to doing. And the fear of Hill and Waddle kind of forced them to play more zones and play more passive. And Tua's speed of throw was a huge, huge asset. Now, when you do the calculations of blockers per pass, it was 5.77 blockers. We had 11 play actions, and then we had 4 screens to mitigate the pass rush. But they averaged just slightly over 4. So we were using about maybe a blocker and a half more to slow them down. These guys are exceptional edge rushers, but it was the run game, the heavy commitment to the run game, and the sprinkling to the edges and the short that really kept Tua on his feet. But Tua had an unbelievable day throwing this football. Take a look at this graphic. This is from Pro Football Reference, and you can see the areas in red that we did not test. You can see the areas in red boxes we didn't have great success. We were 0 for 3 in the deep left. Some people saying that Hill dropped the football. That was just, he had to get rid of it quick, and it was on the wrong shoulder. He couldn't locate. That wasn't a drop. It was just a rush because of pressure. He struggled in the medium left, 1 for 3. And then the medium right, he was 0 for 1. But look where and there's a 6 to 8 over the middle medium. And then the 1 for 1, that big 50-yarder to Waddle made a big difference. But then he was very consistent short in the 1 to 10. And this is how you mitigate pressure. And so this is not check down Charlie. This is a offense that had guys in rotation. I think it's like the 12th iteration of the starters. So this was a good game plan by McDaniel. Not perfect, things we can criticize about, but the overall philosophy was excellent and Tua delivered. But now let's take a look at this little image here. And you can see his kept clean time, 71.8%, 1.83 seconds time to throw. That's insane. And under pressure, we've seen it much higher, around 3, like 3.3 mark, 3.1 mark, 3.1 second mark, but it was 2.68. Even under pressure, Tua was delivering lightning fast. Not blitz, 2.08. When blitz, 2.05. So we were able to hold off that blitz a little bit because it came in quicker other weeks, but that's still extremely fast. But overall, all plays combined, 2.07 seconds time to throw. There is no ability for a defense to consistently get after a quarterback with this kind of throw. And it was at 7.9 yards per attempt. And that is pretty deep for that kind of quick throw. And that speaks to the volume of what McDaniel was able to do with his motions, how Tua was able to get that ball out, and how quick Hill and Waddle are. Now, Waddle was out much of the game, but Tua and Hill have a great connection. And every time they were a little bit of trouble, they got that quick, deep ball out. And you can see right here, BTT, big times throws, 3. And then TWP is turnover worthy plays. 3 to 1's an exceptional ratio. So Tua had a great game when you consider all these things involved. Now, let's take a look at the protection itself, the blockers. You can see right here, Ingold, he was rated number 1, but he really didn't have any pressures. It's hard to say because there's no like concrete stats there, but they give him number 1, whatever. You can see Jones, he had a good day, but that first pass block grade is when you factor in the scheme, the call, to helping him out, and he was helped out a ton. But the second PLB is the true pressure set, and you can see when he was asked to do a little bit more on his own, it fell to 55 and a 95.5 efficiency rating with 1 pressure, and it was a hit. So he was protected a lot, and that Also left other guys on islands. Julian Hill, they rated him well, but you can see here there's nothing concrete to work on. Teron Armstead, both in scheme and in pro set, true pass set, did pretty good. And that was against very tough rushers. 100 efficiency rating, no pressures allowed. It was massive. Then it falls dramatically after that. Cotton, 53. True pressure set, 44. 86.4. He had problems. Liam Eichenberg, you can see 45.1, and the true pass set was 21.6, 95.5. But he also wasn't getting heavy dosage of interior pressure. Sometimes Lawrence or Parsons was in there, but all the times it was these other guys that aren't top tier talents, but he still struggled. Kendall Lamb really struggled, 34.3 and 37.2 both. He had an 86.4 and 2 pressures with 1 sack and 1 hit. And you could see that if the time to throw was much higher, it would have been much more difficult. But he was seeing Parsons most of the day. And then Durham Smythe, he was not good within the scheme itself, but when it was man on man, it was true pressure set protection, he was graded 68.2. But you can see here, this was not a good day of pass blocking. But when you go back and look at those time to throw numbers, you can see how Tua, Hill, Waddle, and McDaniel really threw themselves into protection and saved a very, very tough day. Now, I want to show the run game. The run game was critical. We didn't have a great day running the football. I kind of made some big runs towards the end of the game. And I had said that in my live. We just need to run the ball for numbers. The amount of times you run the football is key. But I said by the end of the game, we need some production in those runs. And that's what happened. That fourth quarter, at the end of the fourth quarter, especially that last drive, you could see the Dallas defense, they were getting a little tired. They were getting a little concerned, a little tight, and the runs broke off. But you can see in this grading here, it's very hard to show it run blocking in a grading system. But this is PFFs, and it's generally in the right area. But let's take a look. Teron, 90 run blocking grade. He had an excellent day. And I'll show you through the numbers that will correlate to this that kind of say that that PFS is kind of accurate with these numbers. Smythe, very good day, big day, 82.4. And Cedric Wilson kind of coming in for the Craycraft run blocking we saw at the beginning of the year, 78.7. Robert Jones, 75.5. And that's really where he makes his day. And he did have some nice blocks. Chosen, not so good. Lamb, not so good. Cotton, terrible. Berrios, terrible. Julian Hill, terrible. And you can see also Eichenberg, not terrible, 39.7. So it was not a great day for the run blockers for the most part, but we stuck with it. And some of these edge guys, led by Teron on one and Jones on the other side, was enough to crack open this weaker run defense, but wear them down, keep them guessing. And really, it was the run attack and the short passing and speed of throw that saved our fat. But you look here at this little graphic here, and you can see how we found success. The wide LE, that's all the way to the edge, 2.8 yards attempt, 17 yards total on 6 attempts, not good. But off the left tackle with my man Theron, 5 for 30, 6 yards per attempt. But you can see here, look at the YCO yards after contact, 3.20. Left guard, we didn't really go anywhere, -2 for 1 attempt. Middle left, 2 for 0. Right guard, behind Lamb and Jones, 2 for 12, 6 yards per attempt. But you can see 4.5 yards after contact. Now, look at the day itself. And then you can see on the right tackle, we did good, 2 for 10. And obviously the right end was towards the end of the day. We got the big 4 for 18, 4.5. But you see the 25 attempts. I said mid to upper 20s is what I thought. I think if we got a little bit more runs, it would have broke them open a little bit more. But 25 is a great number of attempts, but only 85 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. We got 4 firsts from it, only 2 10-plus carries, but yards after contact, 72. So there was a 2.88 of the 3.4 was generated. 3.4 was generated by the running backs breaking tackles. And so Mostert deserves a ton of credit. And so A-Chain as well, Wilson as well. These backs broke tackles and it wasn't much yards before contact. But the number of runs really helped us. And our run defense, limiting their ability to run the football, really set the table. So, guys, we're going into a Ravens team that's a little bit different. You might want Hunt to come in this game. I really don't. I want him to be ready for this Bills team because this Bills team is inconsistent like the Ravens, but they've got a tough defense. I want Hunt to be ready, totally healed, because these guys, the Ravens have two big 300 plus guys in the middle, and I don't want him re-aggravating that hamstring. We're going to have to run the football. It's going to be our defense really limiting what Lamar and the offense can do. But their defense is so physical. They got some dings. Their safety, the young kid, he got hurt with a knee, so he might not be in, and that could open up some stuff for us. This is going to be a very physical game, and they get pressure from inside, outside, and many, many different guys. It's going to be a very, very tough day. It's going to be way tougher than this Dallas game. We have a chance. But we're going to have to do a lot of what you saw against Dallas, but even better. And now that Waddle's got the high ankle sprain, and we're not sure about Hunt, Hill's dealing with something, it's going to be tough to pull this one out. It can happen. I'm digging into the film now. I'll start going over that and later in the week in my live on Friday, especially. If we win this one, we're going to Super Bowl. This team is good. They're tough. It's going to be probably a little bit colder weather, maybe uglier weather. But it's not going to be easy, guys. This team is a tough team. Still got a chance, but got to be realistic. But here we are. Even if we lose this game, we beat the Bills, we'll probably end up second in the conference. And that's phenomenal. And all it takes is the Ravens to stumble, and they can. Lamar is very inconsistent. And then everyone comes to our house, and then anything's possible. So, guys, we're in a great spot. Again, a little new style here, just quickly, because I need to get out quick. I got to hang out with the fam on my birthday. But I appreciate all you guys do. This is Curtis, and catch you next time. Be well. Go Phins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with acebread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.